Hey everyone, C here. As many of you will remember, back in July I created a concept game for a series of Geometry Dash player cards. Well, this isn't the only concept game for GD I've created, and today I'm aiming to share with you another one. So I hope you enjoy it. This is the 9 Circles spin-off game. The 9 Circles series is a name given to a group of similar levels that all trace their roots back to the original 1.9 Demon 9 Circles by Zobros. Each level has a buffer sequence of cube, ship, UFO and ball parts, and the main focus of the level is a neon wave part where a special type of block shape is used to create diamonds that showcase 4 layers of colour. The colours are all vaguely similar usually, and each level conveys a particular colour theme. In the beginning, these levels only use Nightkiller songs, but have since branched out to Extra Law, Mafia Pineapple or even F77 music. The series has taken on many shapes and sizes, and has ranged in difficulty. We've even seen the Circle series make way for one of the most famous legendary demons of all time, Sonic Wave. As we move on down the top 50, many of these demons are products of the 9 Circles series. If you'd like to know more about the Circle series, you can watch my Maps from Hell documentary on the series, or if you're after some more theoretical knowledge about the series, you can watch the GD Theories episode on if 9 Circles never existed. While many people have grown tired of the series, I personally am a huge fan of it. Many of my small spectrum of achievements in GD have been Circles levels, and I generally enjoy watching and completing Circles levels and seeing them evolve over time and seeing the new interesting takes on the series by various creators. The Circle series has become so well defined and so separated from other Geometry Dash levels that it almost takes on its very own platform. 9 Circles levels are poles apart from normal GD levels usually, and this got me thinking, could the levels of the 9 Circles series be made into their own game? Well, this is what I started planning a few months ago, a GD replica game that is based around 9 Circles and Circles Evolution. I took the framework of Geometry Dash quite literally and reapplied it to a Circles themed game and made some art and concept models for this idea. This was originally meant to be an E3 special for my channel back during E3, but I never finished it in time. The game I came up with is creatively just called 9 Circles, and it's a downloadable game for PS4 and Xbox. It follows the structure of Geometry Dash pretty religiously, with 20 levels ascending in difficulty. The character customizations are much the same, and the game is designed to be played on a controller. The first thing I did was take all the recent rate-worthy Circles levels I could think of and categorise them into difficulty groups to create the levels. For my easy difficulty levels, I chose Problematic, Ultra Paracosm, Space Circles, Invisible Light and Ultimate Circle. For the normal difficulty, I chose Fear Me, Figures, Sharp Minor, Anaconda, Solar Circles and 9 Circles and 11. For the hard difficulty levels, I chose Fractured Circles, Jawbreaker, 9 Circles, The Realistic and Sine Waves. For the harder difficulty, I chose Silhouette, Windy Circles, Circles Evolution, Head Rush, Quasar and Crying Souls. For my Insane Circles levels, I chose Classic, Fairy Dust, Poltergeist, Antique Circles, Astronaut 13 and Flat Major. And for my Demon Circles levels, I chose Downbase Riot, Planet Circles, Catastrophic, Future Circles and Crimson Clatter. And then, for my Extreme 9 Circles demons, I borrowed from the concept of the Deadly Demon I spoke about a few videos ago. My Deadly Demon levels are Paracosm Circles, Bowser Vortex and Sonic Wave. Obviously, I couldn't include every single Circles level. I just wanted to take a largish handful so I'd have a wide variety of styles and difficulties to pick from. Upon deciding the levels, this is how I divided them up. I'd have 2 easy levels, 2 normal levels and 2 hard levels, as with the normal version of Geometry Dash. I'd then have 3 hard levels, again as with Geometry Dash. I'd then have 5 insane levels and 3 demon levels, followed by 3 deadly levels. This gave me 36 levels to whittle down to 20 Circles levels proportionally. And this is how I picked the levels. Level 1, as you may expect, is Problematic. It's a very easy Circles level, yet a very complete one at the same time. It has a decent buffer sequence for beginners and starts to hone your wave skills somewhat. I chose Space Circles by Sumi for level 2 ahead of Ultra Paracosm. Ultra Paracosm would have been a decent one, but in my opinion it isn't visually well made enough to be viable. Space Circles is another extremely easy 9 Circles demon with a very nice 2.0 design, and it's very easy to get to grips with. It's not a massive step up either. For level 3, I decided to take a step up in gameplay by including Fear Me. Fear Me is quite a lot harder than the first 2, but it's quite good for helping new Circles players get to grips with the memory parts and also slightly harder buffer sequences. The wave parts are fairly quick to learn and quite fun once practiced. Also, at the end of Fear Me there is a slightly challenging cube part. Users have not been tested much past the wave part in the game so far. For level 4 I chose solar circles. This was quite a tough one to choose. I was tempted to go with sharp minor, but I don't think sharp minor would be easy enough for level 4. Solar circles is quite easy and it has a decent theme and is a fair challenge nonetheless. It's a bit harder than the realistic and is a better challenge overall. At level 5 I chose 9 circles. 9 circles itself isn't very menacing anymore, and players today would probably be able to beat 9 circles with a bit of persistence following the first 4 levels. This would also give them the best experience of a buffer sequence, with 9 circles being such an enduring level as 9 circles levels go. This is a significant step up from solar circles, but would set players in good stead for harder levels. The final hard difficulty level would then be Jawbreaker. Jawbreaker is similar to 9 circles and is a bit harder. It requires more dedication from the player, as there could be some pretty far in deaths. It's a slight step up from 9 circles, but the buffer sequence is easier and it would help them hone their wave skills. Level 7 is Head Rush. Moving into harder levels, we have a level just slightly above the difficulty of 9 circles and Jawbreaker. Head Rush is quite a good circles level and tests everything from buffer sequences to some adept wave parts. This is an essential level for getting better at circles levels. At level 8 I chose Silhouette. Silhouette is a much harder level than Head Rush, as it requires some pretty precise wave parts. This would be a good test for what the player has learned in terms of refined wave skills so far. Something more visual but still challenging comes in at level 9 with Quasar. This would be a fun challenge for the players, and while the wave parts aren't as hard as some of what they've been up against, there is some pretty challenging gameplay in the buffer sequence. This is quite a nice level with good design and a song, so it would be fun for the player. The first insane level heads up at number 10 and it's Fairy Dust. At halfway through we have the second ever 9 circles demon. With 9 circles at number 5 and Fairy Dust at number 10, the completion of this would be a good sign of progress. Fairy Dust doesn't have a massively challenging buffer sequence, but it really will challenge you in the way of wave parts. The second green circles level and the second insane difficulty level comes in at number 11. Classic is a pretty hard circles level that is geared more towards memory, another big test for the player. I was originally going to put the Realistic by Demonism as a blind circles level, but this seemed like more of a complete level. Astronaut 13 is a pretty hard circles level as it is quite blind and it tests a wide range of gameplay styles, not just the wave and standard buffer sequence gameplay. It has quite unique gameplay and would be quite an interesting and adept challenge for the player. A short but challenging circles level comes in at number 13. Poltergeist is shorter and easier to complete, but the first part really tests the wave skills of the player. It would be quite motivating for players to beat this, as it probably wouldn't take them long given its length and drop in difficulty halfway through, but it still requires some pretty well honed skills. At 14 we have our last non-demon circles level. Antique Circles is a huge test of endurance and is by far the hardest circles level so far. It has some of the most complex buffer sequences of any circles level and is generally a big test and something that requires a lot of work. At number 15 we have our first Demon Circles level, being our nerfed version of Planet Circles. This is a shorter level in terms of intense wave parts, but it's a quite dark circles level and has a unique theme. This is where most of the players would get stuck in real life, and it requires a top player to beat something like this. At 16 we have Down Bass, but the Riot version. I don't really consider new Down Bass much of a rate-worthy level, so I felt it better to include the favourite and most well-designed version of Down Bass, as it is slightly easier but still a hard challenge. This version requires really precise wave movements and is more consistent than any other version. At 17 we have Crimson Clutter, a super hard circles level that used to be a top 10 demon. This level is extremely hard but is quite consistent, so would be a big test of skill rather than luck, ahead of something like Catastrophic, say. This would test the wave skills and endurance skills like never before and would prepare them for the 3 extreme demon and deadly levels. At level 18 we have our first deadly demon level, Paracosm Circles Unnerfed. This is a huge challenge. While it has worse gameplay and decoration than the rest, it's a good extreme 9 circles level to help bridge the gap between Crimson Clutter and the final 2 levels. Bowser Vortex was never in any doubt for me. Probably the best looking 9 Circles level, and an extreme demon of epic proportion. Bowser Vortex would be worthy of deadly demon difficulty even in normal GD. It is verging on the unassailable for almost all of the game's progression and tests every single aspect of gameplay that the user has learned so far, being 2 minutes of pure hell. And finally, the final level is the King of Circles levels, the legendary 9 Circles demon Sonic Wave. This, even in normal GD, represents the pinnacle of Circles and Wave mode achievements, so seems a fitting final level. So there are our 20 main levels. Obviously there are way more Circles levels out there, so this is where online levels section would come in, which works the same way as the normal online server. Levels like Ultra Paracosm, Catastrophic, Flak Major, Future Circles, Noob Down Base, and the Secret Box and the like would appear. The main levels have to command a certain level of good building and design, so other Circles levels like Dex Arson that are still fun to play but probably not normal level worthy would still feature in the online section. A lot of easier Circles levels would feature too. The realistic, invisible light and similar easier Circles levels that do not make the cut of normal levels would be available. The level editor would tailor more towards Circles levels with block designs more suited to Circles levels close at hand. The last thing I want to showcase is a bit of artwork I did for the game. I made a few game covers and titles for the concept, and this is probably the best one. As I said, it would be a game for PS4 primarily, so I used PS4 box art as my template. The controller would be used the same or roughly similar in practice. X and the L and R triggers could be used to jump, and the joysticks could be used for in-game navigation. So who would the key players be in this game if it was a thing? Well, Akan would most likely be the best player in the world. Riot would also be an extremely skilled player. Metalface and N-Level are both good at Circles levels, with them both being involved in extreme 9 Circles verification projects, so they'd appear. Nacho21 made a lot of interesting Circles levels, so he would most likely be a creator in the game, as would Sumi, and Rulas too for his Ultra Circle series. In practice, there would most likely be a series of impossible Circles levels like Silent Circles and Silent Circles 2, all side effects of a gaming community that would be established. This is all theoretical of course, and transfers from normal GD. In practice, the players may not be the same. So that's my idea for a GD spin-off game. What do you think of the idea? What would you improve? And what features would you add? I'd love to hear your thoughts and constructive feedback below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you could subscribe, it would really help me out. Thanks guys, I'll see you all either tomorrow or in 2 days.